Welcome to the channel PK 2023. Hope everyone has a good time watching our videos.
Manchester City are closing in on sporting immortality. So why is everyone so indifferent? Ambivalence persists, bordering on outright disdain, not just because of those 115 alleged financial irregularities City vigorously contest. Walking back along Wembley High Road last Saturday, through Manchester City's designated drinking zone after the FA Cup final, the thought occurred as to whether any club had advanced so far, so fast. 24 years earlier, some of these fans had made the same pilgrimage for the less alluring spectacle of a League One playoff final, when they only squeaked past Gillingham in penalties. Now here they were, chanting 2 down, 1 to go, zeroing in on the treble as if it were a fate divinely decreed. If there is one fundamental contrast between this all-conquering City team and Manchester United's class of 1999, it is the absence of jeopardy. In United's European campaign, there were multiple instances where you detected the glory ebbing away, not just in the Champions League final, which they trailed for 85 minutes, but also in the semi-final, which required Roy Keane's totemic, self-sacrificing display against Juventus to send them to Barcelona in the first place. For City, the story has been one of bludgeoning power, with those twin behemoths Bayern Munich and Real Madrid simply bulldozed aside. About the closest to a shock result was the 1-1 draw in Leipzig, an aberration soon corrected in the return leg with the 7-0 pulverizing. Had you prophesied this to a City supporter in the late 90s, you would have drawn hoots of derision. Seriously, their club, masters of tragicomic haplessness, would be the envy of the world? They were barely even the envy of Didsbury back then. It is not as if City have disowned this chapter, when they had to claw their way back up from the third tier. You can still find Sean Goder, cult hero of the United era, working as the youth coach. You can still hear Paul Dicove, scorer of the famous equalizer against Gillingham, offering punditry for the in-house TV station. Their presence brings a nostalgia for a more precarious age. For the club they survey now is unrecognizable. What was once a masochistic passion is now a project, a pursuit of domination on a scale the game has never witnessed. Should City complete the treble against Inter Milan, you sense the feat would not be an outlier, that it would intensify their desire for a repeat next year, and the year after, for as long as the insatiable Pep Guardiola chooses to stay. But at what point does the exceptional become routine? At what stage does this carefully choreographed supremacy start to leave people a little cold? Even before City kick off in Istanbul, there are some for whom this point has already been reached. Take Liverpool, who ended the season on 97 points in 2019 and 92 last year, only to be denied by the Sky Blue juggernaut both times. Or look at Arsenal, who for 8 months nurtured the notion that it was their time to be champions, only to lose 7-2 on aggregate in the 2 clashes with City. For sport to lodge itself in the collective consciousness, there usually needs to be some semblance of insecurity or peril, some sense of overcoming the odds. With City, those feelings are seldom encouraged by their scorched earth dominance. Many City fans will, quite reasonably, be oblivious to outside indifference. For them, this deliriously unlikely journey, from 12th in League One to the summit of Europe, from relegation under Alan Ball to the endless accumulation of glory under Guardiola, is one to be savored. After all, it is not as if the diehards have been short on suffering. My mother is among the true blues, having grown up in North London and gone to collect the football pink, then an indispensable chronicle of Manchester's 2 footballing institutions, every Saturday afternoon. Such allegiance could be stressful. I can recall her horror at flicking through CFAX one evening and finding that City were losing 3-0 at York. Now that, a quarter-century later, there is joy unbounded at beating Real 4-0, how can that possibly be begrudged? But there is no doubt that, away from the Etihad, an ambivalence persists towards City, bordering on outright disdain. The plastics, some United fans like to call their neighbors. In part, the problem lies in the 115 alleged financial irregularities, all vigorously contested by City but still giving their detractors cause to place an asterisk beside their every triumph. And yet the qualms go deeper than this. One question is whether City, who stand to be the sixth club from England to win Europe's ultimate prize, can even be considered plausibly English any longer. It is not just that their strike force is spearheaded by a Norwegian, or that their peerless midfield is held together by the best of Belgium, Portugal and Spain. It is that so much of the structure underpinning City's unanswerable preeminence is imported, from Guardiola to his Spanish-Italian backroom team of Rodolfo Borrell, Carlos Vicente and Enzo Maresca. It is that so many ingredients of peak Barcelona have simply been reassembled in East Manchester, with Guardiola working under the same chief executive, Ferran Soriano, and the same director of football, Chiqui Begiristain, as he had at Camp Nou. And financing it all, of course, is the none too hidden hand of Abu Dhabi. So what, you might ask? How is City's bankrolling by sovereign wealth any different to the situation at Newcastle United, transformed from relegation candidates to Champions League qualifiers in under 2 years by Saudi Arabia's billions? The difference, surely, is that City are on the cusp of an accomplishment only seen once in the history of English football, so rare that Sir Alex Ferguson likened it to flying to the moon. A claim for the treble should transcend the traditional boundaries of club loyalty. It did for Ferguson, who received a knighthood only a fortnight later. It did for David Beckham, who became a national icon as a consequence, and for homegrown talents including Paul Scholes and Gary Neville. Somehow, the moment felt more authentically made in England than the coronation awaiting Guardiola's All-Stars. Perhaps this is too parochial a view. Guardiola cannot be accused of failing to take England, and Manchester in particular, to his heart. His references to our people are no affectations. He lives in the heart of the city. He has set up a Catalan restaurant there, and has declared himself to be a Mancunian for the rest of my life. Set this alongside the soulless spell at United for Jose Mourinho, who did not set down any deeper roots than a suite at Salford's Lowry Hotel. Nobody can be in any doubt about the beauty of his football either, with City's second leg against Real destined to be studied by coaches in the last word in swarming, unremitting intensity. But does it engender true passion beyond the Blue Moon Choir? Does it deserve to be regarded as anything more than a glorified science experiment? The conundrum is perhaps best encapsulated by Erling Haaland, a center forward of such implausible perfection that you half wonder if there is electronic circuitry lurking beneath the placid exterior. You could even say he is a player machine tooled in City's own image, easy to admire but difficult to love.
Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe channel, comment and sharing our videos.